few minutes at Professor Faber's home is our next play, and it has been excerpted from Ray Bradbury's famous and brilliant science fiction book, Fahrenheit 451, and adapted for Reader's Theater by Mark James. One scene from the book has been adapted for Reader's Theater. At the Academy Awards recently, this year's Academy Awards, Seth MacFarlane, the Master of Ceremonies, at one point stated that the next award presenter needed no introduction, and he turned and walked off the stage. And then suddenly out walked Meryl Streep to the podium with the envelope to let us know about the next winner. Well, I'm not going to walk off the stage, but Ray Bradbury needs no introduction either, in my opinion. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us, and he passed away on June 5th, 2012, and this was also noted at the Academy Awards. Mark James, the current treasurer of the River Principal Library, first read Fahrenheit 451 before entering kindergarten. He was an advanced reader at a very young age, and I was able to verify that with his parents. They said that it was true. This book made a lasting impression on him. He has read the novel countless times since those early years, and he feels that it is more pertinent to today's world than ever. The role of Guy Montag will be read by Mark James, and the role of Professor Faber will be read by Peter Andrews. Fahrenheit 451 is the exact temperature at which book paper begins to turn. Guy Montag is a fireman whose job it is to burn any caches of books discovered in private homes by the authorities via anonymous tips, but whose commitment to his career had faltered because of some odd incidents in his life recently. Professor Faber is a retired college professor whom Montag has encountered in the past and whom Montag believes can help him make sense of what he's found in the books that he smuggled out in his fireman's coat on past assignments. Faber is tired, weary, and yet still wary, as many of his colleagues have disappeared in past years. We are at Faber's home. Montag has just taken the subway there while trying to memorize passages from the Bible. He has a copy of the Bible under his arm. Montag knocks on Faber's door. Curtain.
Who is it?
Montag got here.
What do you want?
Let me in.
I've done nothing.
I'm alone, damn it.
Swear it?
I swear.
I'm sorry, one has to be careful. So, it's true? Come in then. Sit down. Book, where did you?
I stole it.
Ray.
No, my wife's dying. A friend of mine's already dead. Someone who may have been a friend was burnt less than 24 hours ago. You're the only one I know might help me to see.
May I?
Sorry.
It's been a long time. I'm not a religious man, but it's been a long time. It's as good as I remember. Lord, how they've changed it in our parlors these days. Christ is one of the family now. I wonder if God recognizes his son the way we've dressed him up. Or is that dressed him down? He's a regular peppermint stick now, all sugar crystal and saccharine, when he isn't making veiled references to certain commercial products that every worshiper absolutely needs. You know, books smell like nutmeg or some spice from a foreign land. I loved to smell them when I was a boy. Lord, there were a lot of lovely books once before we let them go. Mr. Montag, you're looking at a coward. I saw the way things were going a long time back. I said nothing. I'm one of the innocents who would have spoken up and out when no one would listen to the guilty, but I did not speak, and thus became guilty myself. And when finally they set the structure to burn the books using the firemen, I grunted a few times and subsided, for there were no others grunting or yelling with me by then. Now it's too late. Well, suppose you tell me why you came here.
Nobody listens anymore. I can't talk to the walls because they're yelling at me. I can't talk to my wife. She listens to the walls. I just want someone to hear what I have to say. And maybe if I talk long enough, it'll make sense. And I want you to teach me to understand what I read.
How did you get shaken up? What knocked the torch out of your hands?
I don't know. We have everything we need to be happy, but we aren't happy. Something's missing. I looked around. The only thing I positively knew was gone was the books I burned in 10 or 12 years. So I thought books would help.
You're a hopeless romantic. It would be funny if it were not serious. It's not books you need, it's some of the things that once were in books. The same things could be in the parlor family games today. The same infinite detail and awareness could be projected through the radios and televisors, but are not. No, it's not books at all you're looking for. Take it where you can find it, in old phonographic records, old motion pictures, in old friends. Look for it in nature and look for it in yourself. Books were only one type of receptacle where we store a lot of things we were afraid we might forget. There is nothing magical in them at all. The magic is only in what books say and how they stitch the patches of the universe together into one garment for us. Of course, you couldn't know this. Of course, you still can't understand what I mean when I say all this. You are intuitively right. That's what counts. 3 things are missing. Number 1, do you know why books such as this are so important? Because they have quality. And what does the word quality mean? To me, it has texture. This book has pores. It has features. The book can go under the microscope. You find life under the glass, streaming past in infinite profusion. The more pores, the more truthfully recorded details of life per square inch you can get on a sheet of paper, the more literary you are. That's my definition anyway. Telling detail, fresh detail. The good writers touch life often. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies. So now you see why books are hated and feared. They show you the pores in the face of life. The comfortable people want only wax moon faces, poreless, hairless, expressionless. We are living in a time when flowers are trying to live on flowers instead of growing on good rain and black loam. Even fireworks, for all their pretty chemistry, come from the chemistry of the earth. Yet somehow we think we can grow feeding on flowers and fireworks without completing the cycle back to reality. You know the legend of Hercules and Antaeus, the giant wrestler whose strength was incredible so long as he stood firmly on the earth. But when he was held rootless in midair by Hercules, he perished easily. If there isn't something in that legend for us today, in this city, in our time, then I am completely insane. Well, there we have the first thing I said we need. Quality, texture of information.
And the second?
Leisure.
Well, we're plenty of off hours.
Off hours, yes, but time to think. If you're not driving 100 miles an hour at a clip where you can't think of anything but the danger, then you're playing some kind of game or sitting in some room where you can't argue with a 4-wall televisor. Why? The televisor is real. It is immediate. It has dimension. It tells you what to think and blasts it in. It must be right. It seems so right. It rushes you on so quickly to its own conclusions, your mind hasn't time to protest. What nonsense.
Only the family is people.
I beg your pardon?
My wife says books aren't real.
Well, thank God for that. You can shut them. You can say, hold on a moment. You can play God to it. But who has ever torn himself from the claw that encloses you when you drop a seed in a TV parlor? It grows you any shape it wishes. It is an environment as real as the world. It becomes and is the truth. Books can be beaten down with reason, but with all my knowledge and skepticism, I have never been able to argue with a 100-piece symphony orchestra, full color, 3 dimensions, and being in and part of those incredible parlors. As you see, my parlor is nothing but 4 plastered walls and earplugs. Or when I ride the subway jets.
Denim's dentrifice. They toil not, nor do they spin. Where do we go from here? Would books help us?
Only if a necessary third thing could be given us. Number 1, as I said, quality of information. Number 2, leisure to digest it. And number 3, the right to carry out actions based on what we learned from the interaction of the first 2. And I hardly think a very old man and a fireman turned sour could do much this late in the game.
I can get books.
You're running a risk.
That's the good part of dying. When you've nothing to lose, you run any risk you want.
There, you've said an interesting thing without having read it.
Are things like that in books? But it came off the top of my mind.
All the better you didn't fancy it up for me or anyone, even yourself.
This afternoon I thought that if it turned out books were worthwhile, we might get a press and print some extra copies.
We?
You and I.
Oh, no.
But let me tell you about my plan.
If you insist on telling me, I must ask you to leave.
But aren't you interested?
Not if you start talking the talk that might get me burnt for my trouble. The only way I could possibly listen to you would be if somehow the fireman structure itself could be burnt. Now, if you suggest that we print extra books and arrange to have them hidden in firemen's houses all over the country so that seeds of suspicion would be sown among those arsonists, bravo, I'd say.
Plant the books, turn in an alarm, and see the firemen's houses burn. Is that what you mean?
Oh, I was joking.
If you thought it would be a plan worth trying, I'd have to take your word it would help.
You can't guarantee things like that. After all, when we had all the books we needed, we still insisted on finding the highest cliff to jump off of. But we do need a breather. We do need knowledge. And perhaps in 1,000 years, we might pick smaller cliffs to jump off of. The books are to remind us what asses and fools we are. They're Caesar's Praetorian Guard, whispering as the parade roars down the avenue. Remember, Caesar, thou art mortal. Most of us can't rush around, talk to everyone, know all the cities of the world. We haven't time, money, or that many friends. The things you're looking for, Montag, are in the world. But the only way the average chap will ever see 99% of them is in a book. Don't ask for guarantees, and don't look to be saved in any one thing, person, machine, or library. Do your own bit of saving. And if you drowned, at least I knowing you were headed for shore.
Well?
You're absolutely serious?
Absolutely.
It's an insidious plan, if I do say so myself. To see the firehouses burn across the land, destroyed as hotbeds of treason. The salamander devours his tail. Oh, God.
I have a list of firemen's residences everywhere, with a sort of underground...
You can't trust people, that's the dirty part. You and I and who else will set the fires?
Aren't there professors like yourself, former writers, historians, linguists?
All dead or ancient.
The older the better, they'll go unnoticed. You know dozens, admit it.
Oh, there are many actors alone who haven't acted Pirandello or Shakespeare for years because their plays are too aware of the world. We could use their anger, and we could use the honest rage of those historians who haven't written a line for 40 years. True, we might form classes in thinking and reading.
Yes.
But that would just nibble the edges. The whole culture's shot through. The skeleton needs melting and reshaping. Good God, it isn't as simple as just picking up a book you laid down half a century ago. Remember, the firemen are rarely necessary. The public itself stopped reading of its own accord. You firemen provide a circus now and then at which buildings are set off and crowds gather for the pretty blaze. But it's a small sideshow indeed, and hardly necessary to keep things in line. So few want to be rebels anymore. And out of those few, most, like myself, scare easily. Can you dance faster than the White Clown? Shout louder than Mr. Gimmick and the Parlor Families? If you can, you'll win your way, Montag. In any event, you're a fool. People are having fun.
Committing suicide, murdering.
Patience, Montag. Let the war turn off the families. Our civilization is flinging itself to pieces. Stand back from the centrifuge.
There has to be someone ready when it blows up.
What? Men quoting Milton? Saying, I remember Sophocles, reminding the survivors that man has his good side too? They will only gather up their stones to hurl at each other. Montag, go home. Go to bed. Why waste your final hours racing about your cage, denying you're a squirrel?
Then you don't care anymore.
I care so much I'm sick.
And you won't help me?
Good night. Good night.
Would you like to own this Bible?
Give my right arm.
I'll shred this Bible then.
Idiot, what are you doing? Don't! Oh, don't.
Who can stop me? I'm a fireman. I can burn you.
No, you wouldn't.
I could.
The book, don't tear it anymore. Don't make me feel any more tired. What do you want?
I need you to teach me.
All right. Montague, have you any money?
Some, $400 or $500. Why?
Bring it. I know a man who printed our college paper half a century ago. That was the year I came to class at the start of the new semester and found only one student to sign up for drama from Aeschylus to O'Neill. You see how like a beautiful statue of ice it was, melting in the sun? I remember the newspapers dying like huge moths. No one wanted them back. No one missed them. And then the government, seeing how advantageous it was to have people reading only about passionate lips and the fist in your stomach, circled the situation with you fire eaters. So Montague, there's the unemployed printer. We might start a few books and wait on the war to break the pattern and give us the push we need. A few bombs and the families in the walls of all the houses, like harlequin rats, will shut up. In that silence, our stage whisper might perish.
I've tried to remember, but hell, it's gone when I turn my head. God, I want something to say to the captain. He's read enough so he has all the answers, or seems to have. His voice is like butter. I'm afraid he'll talk me back the way I was. Only a week ago, pumping a kerosene hose, I thought, God, what fun!
Those who don't build must burn. It's as old as history and juvenile delinquents.
So that's what I am.
Yeah, there's some of it in all of us.
Can you help me in any way tonight with the fire, Captain? I need an umbrella to keep off the rain. I'm so damned afraid I'll drown if he gets me again. Well?
Montague, I would actually have let you walk right out of my house. I'm a cowardly old fool.
What's this?
Proof of my terrible cowardice. I lived alone so many years, throwing images on walls with my imagination. Fiddling with electronics, radio transmission has been my hobby. My cowardice is of such a passion, complementing the revolutionary spirit that lives in its shadow. I was forced to design this. I paid for all this. How? Playing the stock market, of course, the last refuge of a dangerous intellectual out of a job. Well, I played the market and built all this, and I waited. I waited trembling half a lifetime for someone to speak to me. I dared speak to no one. The day in the park when we sat together, I knew that someday you might drop by with fire or friendship. It was hard to guess. I had this little item ready for months, but I almost let you go. I'm that afraid.
It looks like a seashell radio.
And something more. It listens. If you put it in your ear, Montague, I can sit comfortably home, warning my frightened bones, and hear it analyze the fireman's world, finding its weaknesses without danger. I'm the queen bee, safe in the hive. You will be the drone, the traveling ear. Eventually, I could put ears into all parts of the city with various men, listening and evaluating. If the drones die, I'm still safe at home, tending my fright with a maximum of comfort and a minimum of chance. See how I play it? How contemptible I am? Try it, Montague.
I hear you.
You're coming over fine, too. Go to the firehouse when it's time. I'll be with you. Let's listen to this Captain Beefy together. He could be one of us. God knows I'll give you things to say. We'll give him a good show. You hate me for this electronic cowardice of mine? Here I am sending you into the night while I stay behind the lines waiting for you to get your head chopped off.
We all do what we do. Here, I'll chance turning in a substitute. Tomorrow?
I'll see the unemployed printer. That much I can do.
Good night, Professor.
Not good night. I'll be with you for the rest of the night.